Hey everybody, this is Jim the Tabletop Engineer. Welcome to a new video. Today I'm going to do an unboxing of a new game called Undaunted 2200 Callisto. Normally I don't do board games, and this is a board game. There's not miniatures per se, there are some standees. But the reason I'm doing this is a couple of reasons. One, this is from Osprey Games, and I am a huge fan of Osprey Games. They put out some great stuff. They put out Frostgrave, Stargrave. They put out other Silver Bayonet. Those are all Joe McCullough games. What else can they put out some of Ash Barker's games, I believe. My point is, whenever they release a game, I usually pay attention, whether it's a war game or a board game. And I do have some of their other board games that I maybe I'll pull one or two of them out and introduce you to them. But this game really grabbed my attention, and I'll tell you why. Years ago, they released a game called Undaunted. It was a World War II game that they sent me a review copy. I read the rules. I played a couple games of it. It was really awesome, nice mechanics, very unique game. I highly encourage you to YouTube it and look at some gameplay videos. I've never really been into historicals. It's just, I don't know why, but I appreciated the game from a play stance. It was fun, and the rules were unique, and it was just a very cool game. They've released some expansions since then in the Undaunted series. Most of them take place in the World War II area, but I got rumblings a while back that there was a sci-fi version of Undaunted coming, and because I knew about the original Undaunted, I was very interested with the sci-fi version. And then they announced it, I don't know, a year ago, not quite a year ago, they announced Callisto. Now, one thing I want to say is Undaunted is the name of the series. This one is 2200, which is the year. But I'm just guessing here. The Callisto is the location. It's a moon, I believe, one of Jupiter's moons, and it's where the game takes place. I have a strong feeling, because this game has been sold very well. It's very popular. If you go watch some of the playthrough videos on YouTube, you're going to see that it's a pretty slick game. I got to watch a playthrough of it in person, but I have not played it. And when I say that, it has a solo version and it has a multiplayer version. And what I want to do in this video is I want to unbox it. But one of the things I want to add before I unbox it is Callisto. I think that this is one of those games that people like the mechanics, they like the setting, everything. I think there will be more games in this series coming. I predict it. And it may be that they change the name of the planet or moon that it takes place on. It could be they change the year. I don't know. But I will tell you that I have been so impressed with this game that I've got to think that the people in charge at Osprey Games are also looking at how they could possibly do some expansions maybe, or maybe some full box versions that take place in different locations. All right, so the first thing you want to notice with the box is it's mechs versus humans. In this game on Callisto, it is the corporations versus the workers. And in the solo version, you can play either one. In the multiplayer, obviously somebody's got to play the workers, and somebody's got to play the corporations. And one of the things about the game that I kind of like is it's not political. It does not give you any impression that the corporations are the bad guys and the breakers are the good guys. They all. None of them are what I would call, white knights. So anyway, I just wanted you to see from the box, you got the workers up here, which are the breakers. And then over here, well, this is the breakers. Down here, you got the breakers. And over here, you have the corporate mechs and the corporate elite soldiers. So when you open it up, man, that is a tight box. All right. I have not opened this, so oops, I don't know what that was. Okay, so definitely tokens of some sort. And having watched the game, I know that these represent your men and resources on the field. These represent ownership of certain territories. These are for some of the expansion. They have a defense value and things like that. So I know knowing how the game plays, these make sense to me. Okay, here we go. So you've got some mechs and some breaker ships, or actually vehicles. The red says for solo use only, so they've already labeled that. This is the initiative token on who goes first. I recognize some of these other ones from some of the things. Okay, is that it for that's it for tokens? All right. Okay, this is one thing I'm really impressed with. I think you get 4 of these. Is it right? 1, 2, 3. Yep, 4. 4. These are the unfolded maps, and they are really, really sturdy maps. They unfold, and there's 4 of them, and they're double-sided. And on the board is your area that you're going to be fighting over. Blue is where the corporate will start. Yellow is where the breakers will start. And then you can see it's very well defined. There's line colors. There's dotted lines that indicate elevation. There's solid lines that just indicate a break between sections. And then there's icons. It may look complicated, but I can tell you the rules and the gameplay for combat and movement and things are just really, I won't say they're simple. They're not complicated. I think the game, if you watch any gameplay videos, and I may film a gameplay video from a solo point of view, I'll probably do that. But the maps are just really well done. And there's 8 of them in all. I suspect that maybe Osprey will consider putting out expansion boards with expansions later. But all you need to know about the game, the setup, is usually described up here in the left corner. It gives the scenario. It gives the objective for what you're supposed to do. It breaks down the units that you'll be allowed to use. So there are 4 of these. 1, 2, 3, and 4.
Check out the new RPG and Wargame newsletter. Each week, the Tabletop Engineer shares news, products, Kickstarters, and much more related to the gaming hobby. It's free to subscribe, so check out the link in the video description below to sign up.
And they have a nice little angled edge here so that you can pull them out. You can angle them and pull them out easier of the box. So when they're in there, you get your fingers in there. All right, so let's see what else we got. Okay, the solo rulebook. All right, so there's the solo rulebook. Not too bad. It is 64 pages, and honestly, most of this is scenarios. All right. I remember looking at the solo book when I was watching a game being played. The main rule book was being used. I didn't really get a chance to look through it. It is, how many pages is it? It's only 24 pages, and the last page is a quick reference for a 2-player game. Do they have that on the back for a solo? There is one on the back page for, I guess, solo play. I like it when a game can be summarized in one sheet. I just think that's really, really well done. So you can see the setup, how to play, card actions, combat, example round. So most of the game, rules for 4 players. Pretty cool. All right, here's the scenario. I remember seeing this. This was the scenario book for the multiplayer game. And it's a campaign. I was going to say it, now I turn to it. Campaign tables. I remember one of the things is you can play this as a campaign. Now, I suspect also that there will probably be a community group that grows. And I wouldn't be surprised to find more scenarios created by fans of the game. So there's 8 in here, and then of course you've got the solo campaign. So yeah, I think that may be the case. All right, the red little circles, they go under standees to represent certain conditions in the game. You have your dice, because there are going to be dice rolls in the game. And then it looks like the rest of it is just the cards. So the yellow are the breakers. And it looks like it looks like they're mixed. I think they just bundled them in packs of a certain number. But, you'll notice they have values, titles, actions that they can perform at the bottom. It's kind of cool. Very cool. And then, of course, you have the corporate cards, which is the same thing. They have a value, They have a rank or a position. You'll notice there are numbers and letters in this game. Letters are typically represent that you may have more of one type of card. All cards will have information at the bottom to indicate the actions that they can take. You'll notice that they're different. So some cards will only give you certain actions. So the game involves pulling from draw piles. You'll have your resources in these piles, and at certain times you will draw from them to create a deck. And as the game progresses, this deck will build as you pull cards from the draw piles, and you'll also get a discard pile. And there are things that will happen where cards will go immediately into the discard, and then the next time you shuffle, they'll be in your deck. There are also mechanics for removing cards from your deck, either you or the other player. So if you find a card that you want to remove because you don't want it showing up when you shuffle and draw, you may be building like more of a combat-heavy deck early in the game, for example, and so you want a lot of combat actions. There are mechanics that allow you to manipulate your draw deck so that fewer cards of one or more cards of another might be in there. It's one of those games that when you watch it played, and I've watched one in person and I've watched a bunch on YouTube before, because I just got this in. I ordered a copy, and it was taking a while to get here, and I've just been really anxious to play it. So I've been watching a lot of playthrough videos. But it's one of those games that there's a card element, there is a rolling dice element, which, so, you know, you would argue that there's a little bit of luck involved. But in my opinion, the luck involved in the dice is definitely overshadowed by tactics that you will learn in terms of cards and on the map's positioning. For instance, let me go back to the map real quick. One of the maps, I just want you to notice, there are areas on a map, and I don't know if all the maps have this because I haven't looked at all of them, but certain areas have a dotted line around them, and that indicates an elevation. In this game, like a lot of war games, elevation can be your friend or your enemy. If you hold the high ground, you get certain advantages. And if you're holding the low ground, or if you happen to be on the low ground, you might have disadvantages. But in the game, there are still mechanics and things that can happen that can negate certain benefits. It's just really, really well done. These icons that you see here also play into strategies. Some of them offer defense for whatever units are inside them. Some offer a value for what you want to attempt to do. Also, controlling certain things allow you to do extra things on the board. So it's like I said, it's really, really well done, and I can't wait to start playing the solo game. I wanted to do this unboxing just so you saw what was all involved in the game. You can see there are plastic inserts here for storage of the mechs and the tokens, and the mechs and the vehicles that are oversized, they get stored in here. And they actually do come with standee bases, and those spaces are provided for those as well. So once you put it on the standee, you don't have to take it off. It's I know that some game players don't like that because in order to put it back, you have to take it off. And after a while, the standee can like rub the cardboard and damage it and stuff like that. So it looks like they were way ahead of you, thinking you don't have to do that. And it looks like the rule books store flat here, and then the boards all store on top of that. And then, of course, at some point, I'm going to have to pop open all the tokens. And these are really, normally you can tell, this is just, I don't think this is true for all games, but when you get a game that has been sent through the mail, you know, it's been thrown and kicked and handled and tossed and all that. When I get a game where a lot of the tokens have already popped out, I'm just saying that tends to me to make me think that there's a slightly cheaper, you know, cardboard or process for cutting them. None of these have popped out. Now, granted, they were sitting flat on top of the box, so it could be that it was just good, you know, good packaging. Because I'm telling you, whoever designed the box, man, they got it It's flush. And there you go. All right, that is Undaunted 2200 Callisto unboxing. If you are already playing it, let me know in the comments, and let me know if you've played it solo. I have not played it solo yet, and I really, really want to do that. But I'm also just curious what your thoughts are if you have played it. If you like it, if you see if there's anything you don't like about it. But Osprey Games, they tend to they put out some good stuff. This is not the first board game of theirs that I have owned and played, so very, very anxious to get this started. All right, that's all I got. This is Jim, the Tabletop Engineer. Thanks for joining me on this short unboxing of Undaunted 2200 Callisto, and I'll see you in the next video. Everybody, take care.